And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Welcome to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf. This is Mike Murburg. Welcome aboard, everybody. IMHO, in my humble opinion, .love, because love is the beginning and the end to everything. That's why we're here, to perpetuate love. And even though we have some unorthodox ways, somehow we'll eventually get it all done. Welcome everybody on Facebook Live. We record the show here every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it stays up on the page for a while, and then Kathy McGuire, our engineer, downloads it to a couple different sources, the imho.love website, and she also puts it on YouTube and BitChute and Podbean. So there's lots of places to listen to the show, and like, share, subscribe, do whatever you like to do with it. You know, we may say something that makes sense to you, and we hope that happens. So welcome everybody. It's the 18th of January, or is it the 19th? 19th of January. I dated the thing wrong. Anyway, and you know, the topic of tonight's show is in search of contentment. And I've often banged this drum that before you can ever be happy, you have to be content. You have to accept everything around your life, everything in your energy field, and be okay with it. Now, a lot of times in your life, there's a lot easier scenarios that you're living in for this contentment to come up. A lot of people have a really hard life. They have, a series of decisions that they made and happenstance and things that go on. You know, it's hard for them to find contentment.
They're alive.
Yeah, well, that's page one.
Why not be content about it?
Yeah.
There are people who aren't.
Right.
You know, and life is suffering. So what are you going to do, you know?
It is. And there's a great Steven Wilson lyric. It says, "The curse of there must be more." And that's what keeps people off balance. That's what keeps them feeling deficient. One of the great ways to lose your contentment is to watch broadcast television, and you look at all the stuff they flash before your eyes that you don't have, and it makes you feel deficient, because obviously the people that are getting these items it's really fulfilling their life. You know, you watch any car commercial, I noticed this years ago, they don't tell you what size the engine is. They don't tell you how, what kind of fuel mileage it gets anymore. None of that. It's all about how owning this vehicle is going to make you feel. You know, if you have a new Jeep, you can climb Mount Everest and fart with the eagles.
Yeah, I drive an old car that's been paid for years, you know. I don't carry, collision or anything like that, you know. And it doesn't make me happy, but it makes me financially secure, and that's a lot better than some kind of happy, you know.
Sure.
It's a lack of worry. I don't have to worry about getting up in the morning and doing a 9 to 5 and paying the man and, the finance company.
Oh, who's calling me? Oh, don't these people know? Oh, yeah. How long do you have to do the show? 5 years? Okay, we're doing it 5 years. It's my friend Vinny. He obviously didn't look on my page. Are we still on the air, everybody? We're still there? We're good? All right, thanks for the thumbs up. Hello, Hillary. Hi, Mark. Hey, everybody. And our friend from Portugal, Danielle, is watching the show live in Portugal. It's a pretty amazing thing. Danielle is watching the show live.
Echo.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Danielle is watching the show live.
Echo.
Yeah.
All I gotta do is shut us up. Yeah. Hold on.
All I gotta do is shut us up.
And it won't. Okay, so I got to turn it off. That's the first time I've ever tried that.
Okay. Watching the show while you're on the show?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. To get back to contentment. And, we've covered this topic lightly a couple of times, but over the weekend, Mike and I had a prompting to do a show about this. We're out here at the ranch, and I'm up here in the studio, and Mike was inside taking a nap or whatever. It was the weekend. It was Sunday. It was a day of rest, and there's a guy comes driving around on the property, and he's out there blowing his horn. Like, I don't know, he wanted a cheeseburger. I don't know, but I went downstairs and I talked to him, and he kind of vaguely knew what he wanted. He was interested in the CE5, although he didn't know that's what it was called.
This was the Darby Farms guy from last week.
Yeah,
So he shows up here miraculously, unannounced and not invited,
right.
But it was still a very strange encounter of the first kind.
Yeah, he's 75 years old, but here's the soft part. Here's the sweet part. He doesn't know what he wants, but he knows he's looking for something else. He's not content in his life. He's got 1,000,001 questions, and why at 75 years old do you get the wake-up call? But hey, there's the last train on every car.
Well, the interesting thing is this came through the grapevine as I'm interested in UFOs, and I found you, and let's talk about UFOs too. So I asked him. It's like, I don't have a lot of time. What are you really looking for? I mean,
right.
UFOs are real. I mean, if you want to learn how to do it, here's the protocol. We can get you all set up. Join the group and come on out. And we have people in the group that are over 75. They
Sure.
get it. But what is it that you're really looking for? And he said, I need contentment. I'm not content. And the guy's driving like a new Toyota truck.
Right.
Well, not new, but it was like one of those older guy. It's been paid for, and
Right.
It's like, you got a life. Your wife is still alive, and you're both healthy. What do you not have to be content about?
Right. Well, and that was something that he noted in our conversation. He said he and his wife were very, very different people, opposites, I think he said. But the one thing he noticed about her is she's always content.
Right.
And she's always okay with everything.
It's all in the head.
So maybe, ladies out there, that you're married to some stubborn dude, apparently it happens at some point. I mean, if you wait till you're 75 to just open up that old paint can, it ain't going to pop right off. It's been sitting on the shelf for a while. So, but the fact that he's starting his journey at 75 years old is kind of beautiful. I don't know anybody that could possibly have more regrets on the other end, from not starting earlier, because this is a fabulous, fabulous journey. And I think what I think it was, Mike, he probably got to a point, with the way the news is and everybody, reporting all these flu deaths and stuff like that. This flu that's going around has the best agent in the world. They got like a whole promotional department.
You see where England today just said, okay, we're sick of this. No masks, no.
England's done, huh?
Yeah, they're done. Like no vaccination card to travel.
Wow.
Like, yeah, we're going to Florida.
Yeah, and they will too.
I mean, they're using the DeSantis model
Well, and the thing that I think what probably spurred this on with this guy was at 75 years old, if you've never questioned your mortality to a deeper degree, I think then would be a good time. I think what it is, he's not sure what life holds past this. And it's at 75 and you don't have your mind made up about that, that could be some pretty frightening stuff. It'll leave you wandering around, Pasco County on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, it's interesting you said that because what we're doing and what Contact gives you is a confirmation of one of the things in life that you always suspected was real.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you realize it is real, even though everybody told you it wasn't. And that, people who believed in it were crazy, and all of a sudden you're manifesting it right in front of you. So you're manifesting an ultimate truth. And there can be no contentment for people who search for the truth until they get the truth.
Right.
So here you are. Now you have to deal with the truth of E.T. is real. Now what about the truth about life after death? And all this comes right together. It's the whole sweet spot that unites us all. Near-death experiences, after-death experiences. People coming back, reincarnation. It's the same space-time informational highway.
Yes.
And then once you realize it's all related, remote viewing. Once you find that zone, it's the same zone. It's the same zone, and you can be there, and you can live it, and then all of a sudden the Tao is manifest, and then you realize how to manifest it continually, and then you live a much better life, and then you don't fear death. You actually kind of look forward to it because it's going to be a new passing, a new passage. Every day is a new day, a new experience. A new journey, a new voyage, and it's always wonderful and interesting, and you never know what you're going to get because you stop relying on your mind telling you what tomorrow is going to be and trying to capture and hold on to what yesterday was, and you live in the moment for the end of your life. What's better? You're only going to live in the moment anyway, even if you get a couple of moments.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, and living in the moment is the secret. But the work that you have to do to set that up, that's where the labor comes in.
Yeah, you got to detoxify yourself and disregard almost all the lessons you've ever learned in life, and then go on the spiritual path and start learning about what true spirituality is. And it's more than crystals and enchantments. It's interior work.
Those are all lovely tokens and good reminders to stay on the spiritual path. But the crystals themselves do actually have power of their own.
Yeah, they do. But the thing is that's external to your own soul and existence, the core of your own soul. You don't need that. Every ascended master has taught us. The kingdom of God is within you. It's the soul, the spirit, the soul that unites you with the source of all creation, which you are. You're a manifestation of that. And you're not unrelated to the rest of creation because it's all one whole big thing.
It is one whole big thing. In fact, those of you who read my page and Mike's page, yesterday he had an offering on the Hua Ching. It was the 19th chapter. And I read it, and it was like, I read them every day, but sometimes one really jumps out at you, and this one did. We'll put it up on the imho.love site, and I'll post it on my page if I haven't already. In this writing, in the Hua Ching, it actually... It's addressing what we're talking about now, is the contentment and the understanding, and that when you get to a point where you don't fear death, okay, you have your mind made up about that. You go, well, it is the nature of things to decay, and eventually this meat bag is going to expire, but the absolute tremendous spirit that lives inside of it, it is part of the earth. It's not going to go away. It's going to go somewhere else. But in death, there is really nothing to fear. In fact, we'll come back and do another show about this more in depthly. And I came up with this term doing all these studies because there's so much great information out there these days. Sometimes you got to go through the weeds a little bit, and you got to weigh it out, and you got to read it twice, and you got to read parallel arguments to test its mettle. every time, I was, I had a born again experience 31 years ago, and I thought it was all the Bible. Everything was the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible. And I learned a lot of scripture. I went to Israel. I studied with wonderful Bible teachers. Okay, but then as you really, I kind of call it, it's that Baptist record skipping that they do. No matter most Baptist churches, and they're wonderful people in there for the most part. There's a couple of creeps, but where isn't there? Okay, but almost every Sunday, it's the same message approached in the same way.
Yeah.
You have to give your heart to Jesus Christ, and you have to have the gift of the Holy Spirit to enter into the kingdom. If you don't, you're going to be condemned to hell, to crackle and burn and be miserable and beg for a drop of water all of your eternity, all given to you by the Creator that loves you so much.
And all pitched to you by people that never had a drop to drink in their entire life.
Right, exactly. And I came up with the phrase subcontractors.
Huh.
Okay? And really, if the spirit of the universe is ever present, it doesn't leave. It's available to you any moment of any day, any night, anywhere you are. It is the permanence of spirit on this earth. It passes through everybody. I mean, even, I call it that neutrino energy, where this energy is just passing through you daily. And when you make a nice, clear path for that energy to come in and to come out, your days get easier after a while, because you really do let go of stress, and you really do let go of pain, and you let go of broken promises and hurt feelings and stuff somebody said 17 years ago. You do let go of that stuff after a while. So, but then you start finding out, this story's been told before. This story's been told this century, this century, this century, this century. There's a hero that rises from the commons and becomes the actual human sacrifice for all, so they can pass into the next level, the next dimension. And when you start seeing this unravel time and time and time and time again, what you realize is that what Jesus or any of the other representatives, whatever the other names were that the subcontractors gave them, what they're doing is they're taking that incredible love vibration that's available to every human being, no matter where you are, where you were raised, how smart you are, or whatever, and then they branded it. And then they put a package on top of it. And then they put requirements. And then they built a clubhouse. And then they decided you had to pay dues. And if you look at this, this all happens time and time and time and time again, okay? And then when you realize that in order for governments to function the way they should have some, because it is humans' innate desire to worship something, to let something be greater than them, which is kind of a relief. You need something a little bit above you, so you don't have to take all this weight and presence onto yourself. You can defer it a little bit. But really, after the subcontractors are all done, and they've told this story over and over and over again, when you peel back all those layers, all that artichoke, all that onion, whatever it is whatever you want to visualize, at the end of it is this one beautiful source of everything. And all those discarded layers, all those discarded leaves, those were the efforts of the subcontractors. The thing you were looking for was always there. It just took you some time to get to it. And that's okay. Our friend is 75 years old. He just started his journey. I'm really, really happy I started my journey a long time ago. And of course, it led me through the church, and then it led me through, my relationship with the Holy Spirit or the Holy Ghost, however you want to put it. I've been given the gift of healing. I've been given the gift of intuition, and it's just been one constant blessing after another. And we were talking about before, this is one of the things that happened to me. I think this book came out in 1971. This is The Chariot of the Gods, written by Eric Van Doniken.
Yeah, it was before The Car of the Gods. So it's an old
The
book.
Taxi of the Gods. That's funny. But Eric Van Doniken, who's still alive today, he ignited the interest of so many people in these years to now, and he's just watched this entire UFO, UAP, extraterrestrial phenomenon unravel in front of him. The report that he gave is an amazing for a book that's 50 years old, and 51 now, but that spurred a lot of interest. And of course, in its early stages, it had its scoffers, and then Von Doniken got questioned on his integrity as a human being, and he went through the whole rigmarole, but he stayed true to what he believed and what he studied, and consequently it has been the leaven for many great teachers. I knew before I got here that this was a short trip. Mike started at a very young age. You were what, 2? You had your first encounter?
Yep.
So for just 2 regular guys to have this ability to know and understand that there is something far superior and something far greater on the other side, when this mammal body quits operating as a mammal body and its spirit is released into the oneness, where it goes, I don't know exactly, but I don't care where it goes.
Well, sometimes it comes back. You get to do this all over again. And if you think that death might be the end of everything, and that's frightening, well, put this on for size: that consciousness is eternal. Consciousness is eternal.
Consciousness is eternal.
Yeah,
exactly.
So your next step is, okay, you want to go back, or you want to get recreated as a dwarg on the planet Enof. I bet you'd like that one, huh? we got a spirit chariot going there right now, and you can help that group of humanoids down there if you just choose to show.
I wonder if there's like catalogs you can look through. This is what your experience is going to be like.
Well, I know people that have reincarnated in this lifetime, and they have prior, knowledge of their earlier incarnations as animals that lived in water.
Wow.
And it wasn't on Earth. There's another form of life that does that. And when you realize that there's like a trillion galaxies of a trillion different stars that known about, it's like, yeah, that's possible. And then when you know that, then you understand, you start to experience the interdimensionality with the interdimensionals, out here or wherever you want to do your CU5s, or in your houses or wherever that happens for you. That just expands this whole thing to the point where, wow, this is not just a little blue dot in the middle of a galaxy. This is a whole lot more than that.
Oh, yeah. Well, this Earth journey, and those of us that are here right now, and if you're listening to this show, chances are you've already had a huge amount of your interest piqued about what's going on next. And Mike and I try to tell you as we learn, and we also try to tell you not to worry, because it's going to be okay. It's really going to be okay. It may not be anything that you're expecting, and this is going to fly in the face of many pastors and preachers and teachers that you've run into in the past that tell you all these moral absolutes. And, as you were talking, Mike, I actually had like a vision of everybody repeating this over and over again. It's like, there's people on a low functioning level. They're violent, they're hateful, they're filled up with pain, and they've not been able to escape that cycle in their life. They're angry thieves, they're deceitful liars, their whole existence is of a lower and harsher vibration.
Bloody pikeys.
The pikeys, right. Scammers and guys that drive tow trucks at night. But anyway, that tow you for no reason at all.
and they drive down the highway throwing out like those jacks, metal, the
Denver brakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how they come along like within 30 seconds of the time your tire blows out on a piece of metal that's sharp like a,
like those battle things
right,
on Normandy?
Yeah. It's like, I wonder how that got there,
Yeah, amazing. I'll change your tire for $150.
Right, yeah. And it's like, I'll call AAA, thanks. Sorry, some other guy.
Yeah, and just as a side tip, ladies and gentlemen, AAA is like the best deal in the world. Over the last few years, their service has gotten a little slower because they really don't pay that well. But to the vendors, is what I've been told a couple different times, that they're the cheap. It's the cheap run. When you draw your AAA run, you're not going to make a lot of money, but it is a steady flow. And if you're running a garage or a body shop, you do get to tow a lot of the jobs back to your shop, and that's worth the cheap tow. So. But also, they'll bring you out gasoline. If you run out of gas, they'll come jumpstart your car. They'll get your keys out of your car if you lock them in there. For $130 a year, $134 a year, whatever it is, a basic tow across town is going to run you $125. Okay, one time. But this gives you a whole year of coverage. You get 4 tows. I used to sell it, so I know all about it. But I always like to sell things I believed in, and I believe in that roadside service. So anyway, back to the show. I don't even get anything for doing that commercial. But so you sort through all this stuff. You sort through all these words. You sort through all these opinions. Hence the name of our show, In My Humble Opinion. This is my opinion. This is what I've experienced. Mike is sharing his opinion and what he's experienced. And you all have opinions. And you're welcome to all of them. If I say something you agree with, put it up there in your knowledge locker. And if you need it, use it. If you don't, it'll eventually fade out. And we're not stomping our feet and telling you that we're absolutely right and this is the way to go and, sell everything and move out to the country. We're not saying anything like that, although that's really not that bad of an idea. And Mike has been teaching me the last 4 years. He's been teaching me the ways of the Tao. And I come back around to the Huahu Ching 19 that he wrote the other day. I read it, and the words permeated through me. And it was like I really felt like a complete individual, but in the same wave, I also felt part of this immense oneness. I felt like a creature on Earth, but I was so sure that's where I was supposed to be. I really had an absolute immaculate moment with myself and spirit and quiet. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to get to a quiet place if you have a really busy life and a lot of people in your life, but do make an effort. Even the scriptures tell you to have a prayer closet where you can close the door behind you and be alone.
I keep my shawl in there.
Yeah, you keep your shawl. You got a talit. You have your talit.
Yeah. I never wear it outside the closet.
That's your. Do they make a 3XL talit?
Well, you don't actually have to put it on. Just wear it over your shoulders.
Yeah, I know. I have one. I have a pretty one, and they're wonderful, and everything about them means something. each knot means something. All the colors and the way the colors are separated, they all have some symbolism. And then there's always a scripture in Hebrew, or I have one that's actually converted to English. And I got it in Israel back in 1999, and it's been a treasure of mine. But when you realize that was part of the Christ consciousness that I was developing, that carried me forward day to day, okay, that's why my days are easier now in the big picture realm, okay? And it's interesting. I've been learning all this stuff about the Tao, and the Tao is, as far as I can tell, without sponsorship, the closest you can get to a universal truth, right?
Yeah, it is a universal truth.
It's the universal truth.
It is.
And it's interesting, we're doing the show about seeking contentment from our 75-year-old friend who was looking around like Joe Biden waiting on a taxi. But sorry about that. If you're a fan, I'm sorry, but I doubt it. Anyway, there's only a...
Yeah, this show requires open minds.
Yes.
So yeah, if you're still out there wearing a mask during the show, we would be really be surprised.
Okay. But the definition or the cut line on this show is perfectly stated by Lao Tzu, who is credited with creating and documenting the Wahoo Ching, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because one believes in oneself, one doesn't try to convince others. Because one is content with oneself, one doesn't need others' approval. Because one accepts oneself, the whole world accepts him or her. It's Lao Tzu.
Yeah, and there's in the context too is what is oneself?
Okay.
Is it oneself or oneself?
It's both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's being okay with who you are, warts and all your faults, all your problems, all your shortcomings, everything that you don't know, everything that you know is wrong, everything that you deal with, situations that you handle improperly every day, every week, or whatever. It's all okay. It's all okay. You don't have to torment yourself over the mistakes that you made. This is a human boot camp. This is a earth school. When we decided to come here, we had a consciousness of knowing that we would be going through these things. And when you decide to go to the earth school, all the other spirits look at you and go, "Whoa, dude, you're going to do the earth school, huh?" And you're like, "Yeah, man, it was great. It was like, getting off a great roller coaster or something." So, and the one thing, there's many things, but one thing that I want to point out is if we do reincarnate, which I believe we do, and you can stay at you can return, you can become one, you can reemerge. There's 100 adjectives to state your transition, okay? You need to work on your stuff here, because a lot of teachers, preachers will tell you that once you get straight with Jesus, everything is forgiven. And I believe that. I mean, because what you're doing is you're actually learning to forgive yourself. You're entering into the Christ consciousness, which is going to be your ever-long teacher. So when you stop tormenting yourself, because you've already done that, you've already that's why they have the whole symbolism of dying to yourself, and there's been a human sacrifice made for you. Well, what you were doing is you were sacrificing your old human. You were getting rid of your old mindset, and you were opening your heart into a Christ consciousness, the reception of a divine spirit to help you through on the rest of your journey. And exactly how it's supposed to go, the words have been written, the words have been altered, the words have been taken away, the words have been put back, they've been edited by Sir Francis Bacon. It's just a constant change of everything. Do you believe that?
Yes, I do, but it occurred to me that Sir Francis Bacon sounds a whole lot better than Sir Francis Pig.
He was a specialized cut. He was a specialized cut.
Everybody likes bacon. Why not?
They do, and that's the one thing with Christianity. All the bacon you want.
Oy vey. They're allowed
Muslims,
to eat
no bacon. Jews, no bacon.
Speaking of which, pigs, pork guys, they got like the two hooves, right?
They have a split hoof.
Split hoof, yeah, just like the camel. So it goes back to the mistake of last week. I thought and said that the dromedary was the two hump, but it is the single hump.
A dromedary is a one hump.
Yeah, it's a single hump, and the Bactrin, I was corrected, and happily so, is the two hump.
The Bactrin.
Yeah. So
spell that word, please.
Oh my God! It's just flashback to 7th grade. Bactrin. I'm just guessing.
I think that's correct.
Of the genus Camellus, not to be Camelus, not to be confused with Camillus, New York. Camillus. Onondaga County. What can I tell you?
See, now, a camel and a goat are clean to eat. They have a split hoof, and they chew the cud.
Oh, okay.
Okay. See, now a pig, even though it has a split hoof, does not chew the cud.
Okay.
So therefore, it's actually unclean according to kosher documentation.
Yeah, and I don't think any dromedary has ever been accused of eating a human being before.
No.
I'm going to take them out and feed them to the dromedaries.
Feed them to the pigs.
Pigs.
Yeah, the pigs will eat human beings.
Yeah,
Forget about it.
Yeah.
When they're hungry, man, you're in trouble. Yeah, you don't want to.
That's where the pikeys go missing.
The pikeys go missing. I'm missing a pikey. I'll take the pig's item.
Or piker if from the southern part of England.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it's interesting. When I was in Israel back in '99, there's two levels of kosher. There's regular kosher, and then there's glot kosher.
Wow, what's glot kosher?
Glot kosher is like for the turbo kosher. They won't eat anything like out of a butcher shop that also butchered pigs.
So it's like vegan kosher.
It is. It's like vegan kosher. That's a really good way to put it.
This is another example of the distribution of the Pareto curve.
The Pareto curve.
Yeah, Pareto curve. Like, this is why some people get rich and other people don't, and 5% of the population end up rich because they do something different. But yeah, there are many permutations of the Pareto curve. And this may be one of them. Just some people just need to be like super kosher.
Well, that's why, in 1979, if you wanted a fancy Oldsmobile, you could buy a 1979 Oldsmobile Delta 88 Royale Brougham. 3 packages on top of that baby.
Wow.
So if you wanted something really exclusive,
With the Landau roof.
with the Landau top and the velour interior and the digital clock that rolled up, that was the only thing that thing had right, was that the clock was cyclical.
Also known as the doctor's car.
Oh, absolutely. And what a machine it was. I worked at the Oldsmobile dealership prepping those things when they were new, and I loved delivering them to people's houses. What a feeling. But anyway, in our pursuit of contentment, okay, you find a lot of things that you don't they stick pointedly at you, like when you're trying to learn something, but there's a constant repeat of something that you in the back of your mind that goes, this isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right, and a lot of times you have to shut that off. And I had I'll tell a true story out of my life. There's only one other person in the world that knows this story. One of our friends here at the group, Sue Dolov, is a Dolores Cannon trained QHHT hypnotherapist. Okay, really gifted lady, and she does past life regressions. Okay, and I had a session with her, and there was something that happened to me several years ago I had to make a password for a for an account that I had to go into all the time. And it was funny. The girl on the cover of the account thing looked like an old girlfriend of mine named Connie Ann Marie. Okay? So I used that because I knew I was be looking at that picture. I used that, and I also knew the year of, she had a really cool Pontiac Le Mans Sport. So I used the year of that, and so that was my password, was her name, Connie Ann Marie, and then 1971. And I used it for many days, for many years. And it was a password, but then something else happened in my life where I would say her name out of nowhere. It would just fall out of my mouth. I'd be sitting there waiting on something to happen. I'd be in a line at a store. I'd be doing the dishes. And it wasn't anything erotic, or there was really nothing tied to it, but it was just this like energy that her name would come up, and I'd think of her, and after a while I just said, every time I think of her, I'll just send her a blessing and I hope she's well and all that. Well, when I went into my QHHT session with Sue, I asked about that. Why do I say this name? Now, Connie was my girlfriend for a couple of years. We were very close. We always had we were very comfortable together. But I was a young guy wanting to sow my oats, and she knew that. And there was this nicer, older, mellower dude who was more established. And she broke up with me and went with him, and they had a baby together. So there's all the purpose, you know. A broken heart's a broken heart, whatever it goes. Okay, but anyway, she's always been a nice person in my mind and in my heart. And I finally asked Sue, and in the QHHT session, what you do is you go into your own subconscious and you start identifying things that only you know about. Okay, so we go back a couple of past lives, and I asked about Connie Ann Marie, and I come to find out she was my girlfriend in this life, but in a couple of previous lives earlier, it was like in the 1800s, she was my daughter. Okay? So, and in that life, when I passed from that life, I was not able to say goodbye to her. So it circled back around, again, cyclical thought, cyclical energies. It circled back around, and her name and her being came back into my realm, my reality. And I finally found out that that's why I had this affection of uttering her name, sending her a prayer, sending her a blessing, identifying with her spirit, touching base, whatever it was. It finally got answered by me inside my head through Sue at her direction. And it was absolutely a wonderful thing. I mean, because I was literally saying it almost every day. I would say her name doing something. I'd get in the car, I'd start the car up, I'd reach for the seatbelt, I'd go, Connie Ann Marie. And it was just this weird kind of like, are you a crazy person? You know, I'm saying this to myself. Well, anyway, I finally I wrote her a letter, and I told her this story, and she was pretty amazed, because I think she believes of similar things. She was unaware of this particular situation, but it's very interesting how connected we all are to each other, to all of everything. And it is you're not doing yourself any justice if you turtle up on this thing. If you're like, I know what I know, don't confuse me with the facts. This is good enough for me. I don't want to open anything else. I'm good enough. I'm ready to go. I'm heading for the finish line. Leave me alone. And apparently, that's what happened to our friend, our 75-year-old friend who came by seeking his contentment. Apparently, that set of excuses wasn't working for him anymore. So, Mike, is there any exercises that that you can think of that eliminate worry? Because when you can't focus, a lot of it is worry.
Well, the key is learning how to meditate. Learning how to meditate properly, focusing on your breathing, and that once you do it, it takes a couple breaths, and you hit the reset button, and you're good. That's the first thing you got to learn how to do. There's no other exercise that'll work better than meditation. And then if you're getting stuck on things, then you can. There are a couple little tricks that you can use your faulty little mind for, but they help you let go. So you can picture it in your mind like, you really hate somebody.
Yeah.
You just really can't stand them. Well, you just picture them on the back of an airplane and you push them off. and you let it go. It's all gone. You let your negative emotions go with it, and you know nothing's going to happen to them because it's all your imagination anyway. But it helps you let go. It learns you learn how to let go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your troubles just there's a lot of ways to do it, but you need to learn how to meditate. Once you meditate, you get into the present. You realize the present and the past. The past and the future are all connected to you in the present, so there's no need to wonder and think about tomorrow in such a way, because the mind creates illusions and the memory creates illusions. It's all an illusion except for the present, so why not be here? I mean, it's the only guarantee that you get is that you can be present in this lifetime, so be there. That's what you're supposed to be. So even though your surroundings teach you otherwise, it's part of the deprogramming that you have to go through. That's why I've been a student of the Tao for many, many years, but it wasn't until the past six or 7 years that I read daily and continue to understand it and find a deeper nuance and meaning to it, and then realize, I still have, times when I go through my human emotions, and you have to learn how to work on these things. And once you understand the Tao, and once you understand Wu Wei and simplicity and patience and compassion, and let things be and let the paint dry, as we say.
Let it grow whiskers.
Let it grow whiskers, however you want to put it. But that's how you get through this life without sorrow, with as little sorrow as possible, without negative emotions. You can let it go, and that's how you can be content. And then finally realizing that whatever you have, the Tao will always provide you with enough. It won't provide you always with what you want, but it'll provide you with what you need. It always has and always will be. And it's only when you screw that up and that things get reversed on you. When you fight that flow, you can't win. And if you fight it long enough without realizing that you can't win, you just have to go with it, and, trust in it. And it's apparent that our friend has been fighting this his entire life, when it's so unnecessary.
Yeah, well, although it's probably not a bold one, he has a big ego to overcome. Okay, he seemed kind of unsure about a lot of things in his life, but apparently his ego is big enough for him, that's kept him at bay from asking big questions for 75 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, the ego is the creator of the fear.
Yes, of course.
So, and he's a materialist. He was looking for UFOs,
right?
And not looking for spiritual guidance. We all know that the spiritual nature of this phenomenon is what creates the phenomenon itself. Everything else is a sideshow. That's why it's important for you to. When you get to a CE5, that you focus on your group and stay there and meditate and continue the energy that's there and the meditative state and the mental state, and then allow things to come together. Like that's what we did, and we had Sahara here, and she did a wonderful meditation, and it would produce wonderful results. So we saw a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's the skies have really been filling up. Everybody's been able to leave with a sighting, and it's not like an amusement park. If it happens, fantastic. If it doesn't happen, that's okay too. But when it happens, it's quite exciting.
Right.
And really, we have the ability to create this wonderful consciousness as a group and send it out for...
It's a unified group and a unified field.
Yes.
And there's nothing bigger or better.
So if you're interested in our CE5 group, we're getting close to 500 members. Did we hit 500 yet?
Yeah, 7 short, but I'm not counting. I just know the number.
Okay. So 7 more people sign up now. You win a balloon.
We just had somebody join from Oregon.
Oh, really?
Saying, yeah, I'll never make it out here, but like I'm really interested in what you guys are doing, and I want to start my own group, and I want to see what you're doing, so I can start my own group, and that's the reason I started the group.
Well, that's the core of this whole thing,
right.
Is the HICE, Human Initiated Contact Experiences. How you can, if you're curious as to what all this is about, you go to Darby Ranch CE5. And there's one more title to that. Darby Ranch CE5.
Well, you can always get
that's on Meetup. Go to Meetup.
Meetup.
Darby Ranch CE5, and we have a monthly meeting, or every 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's actually CE5 Tampa Bay at Darby Ranch, Dade City, Florida, USA.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, or want the protocol, write to me at darbyranchce5@gmail.com. That'll get you there.
That's Darby Ranch, DARBYRANCHCE and the number 5 at gmail.com. That's Mike's email right into his box there. So if you're curious about any of this, we'll send you all of it. The protocols. Who was the lady that did the edits for it?
Oh, yeah, it escapes me off the top of my head.
Okay.
She was new, but it was nice to have an editor, a new fresh set of eyes look at my work. So
we've just had the most beautiful people show up at these things, and it's like the one thing I noticed the last event was everybody there was just so peaceful and so unified in their consciousness, and the skies lit up. It's something. The way we look at it is there's nothing more pure, there's nothing more genuine that we can offer our extraterrestrial family than our love and our innocence towards them. All we're looking for is a glance back, a touch back. Just let us know that we're looking for you, and we want to embrace you. We don't want to shoot at you. We don't have any nuclear weapons. But it's always dangerous because once the world learns that there is a greater off-planet life form, everything here is going to be minimized. Your money may go away. Your property may go. It's going to be a total change. And whoever you take jurisdiction from, you will look at with a more jaundiced eye, because you know that they're not the ultimate power anymore. They're not the say. You know, when you think back on how many people have been incarcerated, there's guys doing 15 years in Oklahoma for a bag of marijuana. And the jurisprudence that those people had over those guys, those people, for having a plant in their pocket, the flowers of a plant in their pocket, and then incarcerating them and taking them out of society. When things like that start to get compared to the fact that none of these people ever had the jurisdiction over you. They never had the rule over you. Everything you have is inside of you. Every element. You're made of stars, man. You have 21 generations of your people coursing through your spine right now, or maybe more. I don't even know. But the one thing that we want you to know is, if you are interested in this kind of stuff, we're about as organic as it gets. There's no dues. There's no, there's protocols, but that's just so we can do the best job we can do. And it's not for the casual observer. Hey, I want to see some flying saucers. You're not our guy. Okay? But in your consciousness, if you're seeking higher levels and higher levels of understanding in your own life, and the fact that everything here on earth you're kind of bored with, and you want to come with us and reach outside of here and reach outside of all this, I think you'd be pretty amazed at what's out there. And hey, if we sound nuts, we sound nuts. You can't judge me. You can, but I'm not going to pay any attention to your judgment. But well, Mike, I think we're probably like at close to an hour.
Yep, close to it.
Okay. You got anything you want to leave the...
Peace, y'all.
Oh, you're a man of many words tonight.
Yeah.
So anyway, like we were saying, I got a couple great quotes, and then I'll close everything out. Talk about being content. This one kind of struck me. It says, "The deer isn't crossing the road; it's crossing the forest," which means that little man-made path that he has to negotiate, that was put there in front of him. He's still going through the forest, even though he has to walk on this concrete or tar or whatever it is for a short amount of time. Your walk will continue through the forest, even if you come across hard pavement or some footing that you're not used to. And the other thing, and that the author wasn't known on that, but I think it's pretty profound. And Philip Palfrey is credited with this quote: Expectant of greater things, we try climbing higher and higher, an effort that costs us much, leaving us short of breath, and to only find the ground below is much prettier. So, as you're trying to be content, don't think that everything gets better over there. It may not. It may be way worse than what you have. So those moments of content with peaks of happiness, that's got to be, because happiness is so temporary. You can be in a great happy mood, and then you get a phone call, or then you feel a lump, or something starts going wrong, and there goes your happiness. But as long as you were content, and you can base your feelings on your content or your contentment, then everything else is much more easily repairable. So, well, Mike, I'm going to go say goodnight to the people. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're on YouTube and BitChute and Podbean, imho.love, and, of course, Facebook Live. The show stays up for quite a while. So, what'd you find? Anything good?
Me, I'm just trying to find the name I forgot.
Oh, that's okay. No problem.
I'm just getting
all right.
Getting old.
Hey, we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. There's 13 of you there. And, all right. And, hey, there's John Sylvester. How you doing, brother? I've been wanting to get you on the phone. Let's talk in the next couple of days. I believe Nanette is out of jail. There's Mark. And I think I got these little tiny icons. I should have worn my glasses over. But anyway, y'all are absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning in. And y'all have a great night and a good week. And get in touch. We love you.